None of us can deny that old school RuneScape can be an absolute grind fest at the best of times, but what if I told you that some of the classic grinds that plenty of players will see as an essential rite of passage for any OSRS player are just no longer necessary for your average account? It is gonna seem like blasphemy to talk negatively about some of the things on this list, but if I say something you disagree with, please just hear me out. Some of these I'd have recommended previously, but with so many changes coming through in the past year or so, I think they're gonna be a waste of your time. Before we begin, I'm going to preface this entire discussion by saying that there's no right way to play. I'd rather remove both my eyes with a spoon than do some of this content, but if you're a big fan, go nuts. Who am I to tell you how to play your nostalgia bait medieval cookie clicker? Let's start off strong with an extremely controversial one. Full Void unlocked through the Pest Control minigame. You'll need to assist the Void Knights for around 10 to 15 hours, depending on your win rate and time to kill. I recently did this grind myself, and I can tell you, regular Void is worth the grind at exactly 0 places. If you can prove me wrong, slide into the comments, I'd love to hear it. I honestly wish I'd spent all my points on ranged XP instead. You can make a much better argument for Elite Void, but the requirements on this are fairly steep, requiring the Western Province's hard diaries and 400 extra pest control points. By the time you've got this done, you're probably going to have better combat gear for 99% of situations already. You can argue that Full Void is useful for learning content requiring multiple combat styles with fewer switches, and I get that. If you're a top learner, it's probably pretty useful, but unless that's your specific goal, save this grind for another day. It's also pretty good at Vorkath with a Salve Amulet, but honestly, just get good at melee Vorkath. If you insist on doing this grind, make sure you've got the hard tier of combat achievements done. This unlocks you 3 extra pest control points per win. What's the alternative? Just get some decent regular gear. There's no content that you'll be locked out of by not having Void armor. By the way, if you regularly watch my channel or it's your first time and you want to see more of me, liking the video and subscribing to the channel really helps me out. I appreciate it. Next up, we've got a grind that I've started multiple times and never finished. The Mage Training Arena grind, for any of the items really, but specifically for Bones to Peaches. You have to take part in 4 extremely tedious mini-games at the Mage Training Arena in Al-Kharid. This grind only takes around 5 hours, but honestly, that's 5 hours too long. It's a pretty handy spell to have at some bosses, but why cast the spell yourself when you can just buy Bones to Peaches tablets on the Grand Exchange? By using the tablets, not only do you cut out the grind, but you also don't have to be on the normal spellbook to cast the spell, allowing you to use other spellbooks to get you access to spells like Vengeance, Thralls, Ancient Magics for freezes or blood spells. I'm sure you know the kind of stuff you can cast. Also consider that you'll be using less inventory space on the runes. Even if you're an Iron Man, unlucky for you, the healing from Bones to Peaches is outclassed by other options like a Blood Fury, Full Guthans or Blood spells. If this is a grind that you've already done, fair play, but it's certainly not one that I think is worthwhile in 2025. The next one is not a specific grind, but a more general piece of account progression advice. Unless there's a particular skill cape perk that you're after, I'd try and avoid focusing on one skill all the way to 99. I know some people are just built different, but this is something that I've seen lead to burnout in so many players. Some skill cape perks might be worth it. The crafting cape is useful with its teleport to a bank, and the magic cape for easy spellbook swapping. These both spring to mind, but the utility isn't useful enough in my opinion that I'd put everything to one side just to grind it out doing boring repetitive stuff. Another exception you might make is that if the skill makes you a lot of money. Hunter in particular, the grind for red and black chins can help you set up your account with cash for a while, but realistically you could have made that money doing something way more fun and got the skill up passively using stuff like birdhouses. We'll talk about why just grinding for gold is not necessarily a good idea a little bit later. I hate having this next one on the list. It's such an iconic piece of armor that I've always previously recommended to grind. The Fighter Torso from Barbarian Assault. You can do this in 3 to 5 hours with a good team, but let's be real, you aren't getting boosted, you don't have a good team, and it's going to take you at least 10 hours. There are so many other items with strength bonuses in the game now, and the extra strength bonus you get is just not worth it when you can pick up an obsidian plate body for less than 1 mil. It's only got 1 less strength bonus, and in most cases, this is not even going to bring you down a max hit. If you're willing to spend closer to 4.5 mil, the Blood Moon chestplate has the same strength bonus and has even better attack and defensive stats. If I were leveling an account today, I'd definitely be skipping out on the Barbarian Assault grind and picking up Blood Moon armor instead. Here's one that I'm glad isn't as necessary as it used to be, grinding NMZ for ring imbues. This felt like such a weird way to progress an account that just doesn't feel old school to me. I'm glad the ring slot's now primarily occupied by a light bearer for most situations. Using special attacks more regularly is not only more fun, it's a really underrated way of boosting overall damage. Either just because you've got an absolute spanker of a spec weapon like Claws or a Void Waker, or because you can more regularly reduce an enemy's defense using the BGS or Dragon Warhammer. Nightmare Zone just sucks in general too. If you can AFK a lot, then sure, it might be worth it. But skip the imbues and just wait until you've saved up for those DT2 rings. If you really want the imbues in the meantime, you can grind this way quicker with the PvP arena. Usually I'd say that interacting with PvP content can be a bit hit and miss, but no PvPers actually do this content. It's basically exclusively an imbue point farm at this point, so you're going to be fine. Here's another more general tip. I've never understood people that just grind out gold doing nonsense methods. There's a bunch of shop buying methods, some weird daily methods, some truly awful skilling methods, and I'm just not about that. OSRS is a game that I love, and I don't want to turn it into a chore by running around to 1,000 different shops every day, constantly remembering to visit my throne of miscellanea, doing boring herb runs, and just generally dicking around with content I don't find fun. Like I always say, if you do find it fun, go nuts. I am just not built that way. Sit me down at a nice mid-game boss like Vorkarth, Perilous Moons or Duke, and I'll hang out there all day making decent money. One that I've never even tried and never will, full Graceful. You get this by farming Marks of Grace doing rooftop agility. Sure, eventually you'll get enough Marks of Grace by training agility naturally, but it takes around 60 hours of training if you purely focus on the grind. With the recent run energy changes, there's no way that this is worth it for any account to prioritise. What's the alternative? To be honest, this one doesn't even really need one, but if you're that precious about your run energy, stamina potions have dropped in price recently. Just want to give you a quick reminder that none of these grinds are completely pointless. They all have some niche uses or can be a minimal boost in certain situations, but in my opinion, there are much better ways to spend your time to get stuff that's either almost as good, just as good, or in some cases, even better. So why do a long grind when a small grind does the trick? Before we finish up, I want to give a quick shout out to my gold tier channel members, Chizomni and Omega Zero. If you want to support the channel like these guys, there's a link in the description to my membership sign up page. You can also find a link to the Discord there. We've got a small growing community of players of all abilities keen to help each other out and send some content together. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you next time.